Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto City Season 4. I am so excited right now to have you guys here with us. It means so much to me that we have been able to grow this show with my team and all of you alongside, and really, had some amazing guests over the last, the last 3 seasons. We had 50 episodes, which is just mind blowing to me. And I'm just really excited for this season. We've actually made a few changes. First of all, I need to take a moment to thank Kip VR. He gave us some amazing updates in the off season. If you spawned in and came right into the studio, you have quite the treat to check out after the show. We've added a sort of commemorative hall for all the guests that have been on the show previously. We've actually used copies of the POAPs that were given out after each episode as the images to commemorate them being on the show. So after the show tonight, please take a moment, go over there and check it out. You just go right back to the spawn space and, take a left and go around the corner, and you're going to be amazed at the beautiful work that Kip did for us. It's got some really pleasing aesthetics in there. In addition, you may have seen on our social media posts that each month now we're actually going to have one training week during the month. I'm super excited about this, working now on bringing on people on board to come in and do the training for us. This month will actually be our very own Kip VR teaching us Unity basics and navigation within Unity. So this will actually be in 2 weeks from now. So make sure you mark your calendars for that one. On those episodes, we're actually going to have the trainer come up, and they're pretty much going to run the show. I might have some questions in between, and the audience will be able to ask questions, but it's really going to be centered on you watching what the trainer is teaching. And of course, as always, we're going to record these episodes and put them up on YouTube, so you'll be able to go back and look at the episodes and follow along and try to do it yourself. So don't worry about the fact that you can't do it while we're here in here. This is more for you to come in, listen to what the instructor has to say, get a feel for it, and then later on, go home, sit down, and pull it up on YouTube, watch along, follow along, and try it yourself. And we're going to do a bunch of different things like that this season, and hopefully everyone will enjoy that. If whoever does the training, just like the people who come on as guests, we're going to have their Instagram contact information up for you guys. So, most of us in here pretty much interact with each other on a regular basis, or at least come in contact. So feel free to ask questions if you have them. Don't inundate the instructors, but we'll definitely, get everybody getting a nice core basic set of instructions for themselves. An exciting thing that happened this past month was that Bitcoin ETF was finally approved, and it went live. And I'm not going to lie, I bought in. I don't have a lot of money, but I bought a little bit of it, and I watched it go like this. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be something to play along with. And, I wish I had more money to invest, but I'm trying to do things wisely and methodically. And over the next few months, I'm definitely going to be watching it and seeing it, very closely, the direction that it's going in. I think that, maybe some of you have also heard that they're now looking at doing an Ethereum ETF as well. If you remember last season, we talked about the differences between like an ETF and an actual, having Bitcoin. So being in the Bitcoin ETF doesn't give you Bitcoin. It's more of traditional stock based, where you're monitoring the actual activity for Bitcoin. This is definitely something that is becoming more popular. So if you have some interest in learning a little bit more about that, definitely do some research before you invest. As always, if you have a financial advisor, talk to them. If not, you could do a little homework online. Make sure you don't just run with the first thing that you learn about. If you find somebody online that you don't know and you're not sure on the information, keep digging. Do a little bit of homework on it. This is your money that you're investing. So do the same thing you would do if you were going to invest in a regular stock. Pay attention, do your homework. But there are definitely some people here in the metaverse that are heavily into cryptocurrency and that may want to talk to you if you're looking for some guidance. So, keep that in mind as well. And speaking of currency, There's a lot of buzz about monetizing in the metaverse. With generating income comes financial obligations. And our guest tonight is going to share with us how she brought her real life financial business into VR. And she's going to give us a little bit of advice on, if you are making money in here, what you need to do. And if you're invested in cryptocurrency, what your obligations are. So please help me welcome G Deuce from Bara Financial.
Yay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's come on over, have a seat.
Can we get my... Here we are.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and being our first guest of season 4. Really excited to have you on here.
Yay. Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Actually, you started following us. It was back in a different platform. It wasn't from, from VRC. I remember I used to see you at Spatial all the time following us. So it's been nice to thank you very much for staying with us throughout the seasons. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you always provide great content. So so it's always great to attend your show and everything, because I always learned so much. So
thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. So, you have been here for a while now in the metaverse, but you decided to bring your own personal, business into here. But give us a little bit of your background first before we talk about what you're actually doing in here.
Okay. Well, my education wise, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science and a master's degree in curriculum and instruction and technology. I currently work for a fintech, a financial services company, and always have had the passion to help people in a sense, or teach. So for the past 20 years, I've been doing grants. For about the past 8 years, I've been doing tax preparation, and the past few years doing credit repair, and then past 5 doing financial coaching. So,
wow.
And so, one thing that I found is that, there's a lot of people who need assistance in one or two of those areas. Okay. And so, it's always my goal is to help them to not leave money on the table, basically,
Right.
Because sometimes, without the knowledge, if you don't know to apply something, and then therefore you're missing out on something.
And I feel like a lot of people struggle with asking for help with their finances.
Yeah. Because sometimes, that they may feel ashamed or be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be embarrassed. But look, life has happened to everybody. Let me tell you. I mean, I've been there where, oh my gosh, where am I going to get rent? Where am I going to get this? Where am I going to get that? But you just got to, pick yourself up, hey, been through a divorce. I've had to start over. My credit was tanked at the bottom, I mean, literally. And I had to rebuild everything. And now my credit score is it's 817.
Amazing. That's so good.
So it can be done. You just got to focus, and you got to buckle down, and you just have to do it if it's something that you really, really want to do.
And I feel like because you've been there and been through that, it's almost you're more sympathetic to the people that are going through it. Instead of just spouting advice at them, you can say, you know what, look, I've been there. This is what you need to do. And I'm telling you from experience, not from just shooting from the hip and saying, yeah, you can fix it. It's fine. You know, it's a struggle.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can say, okay, like you said, coming from someone who's never been there, oh, it's easy. Well, it may not be easy for that person. They may have some hurdles to get through. So, I mean, and everyone is different. Everyone's timing is different, and you have to, when you're dealing with your finances, there is a level of discipline that goes along with it. You have to decide, okay, what is it that I want? What is it that I want to do? And you have to make that decision. Yeah. You have to make, what is my goal? I mean, I'm a competitive person, my brother and I, we go back before he texts me, my score is 850. I'm like, oh, God, I gotta get there, you know. So I mean, but that's just a competition between siblings that we have, you know.
Mhm.
And so you have a, find that person that's going to motivate you. If even that, you know, that also helps.
And it does depend too, with your finances, what stage in your life you're at too, because if you're
Very
younger, you
true.
have more time to recover. But when you're a little bit older, you may not have the time to recover before you actually need those finances. So getting a little bit of guidance from someone to get you back on track is critical.
But one thing that I always say though is like, don't think it's like too late for you, because hey, you could have maybe that great idea or that business or whatever that's going to skyrocket. You might. Okay. So you may be older. I mean, I look at people like, was it Vera Wang? She didn't start designing till she was like, what, 40?
And look at her.
Yeah, exactly. Colonel Sanders at KFC, the chicken, he was like 80 or something like that. So it's like, you don't, I mean, age, I always say my thing is age is a number. Life is what you make it. It's like, you can do well at any age, but you have to just purpose in your heart to say, okay, look, you know what? I messed up. I may have gone bankrupt, but you know what? I can bounce back. And you just have to have that attitude, and then surround yourself with the right people. Okay.
Yes.
That are going to encourage you, that are going to, I mean, they're not going to lie to you, say, okay, you got it. No, you know what? CityGirl, no, you're messing up right now. You went out shopping. You spent $500 that you really shouldn't have spent. Okay? They're going to tell you the truth about yourself.
Exactly. You need people to keep you in line. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. Right.
So as you've developed your credit score, got it back, you're working at all these financial things, and this is now influencing your life in multiple ways, because it's not just you getting your self back on track, but this is your work now. So how did you go decide that I feel like there's a need for this here in the metaverse? How did this come about?
Well, initially when I came into the metaverse, I didn't know what to think. First of all, I'm like, okay, what are people doing here? What's going on here? And then just listening, to different people, some of the stuff they were going through and dealing with, I was like, And then I saw other people bringing their businesses into the metaverse. So I was like, hey, why not financial services? Why not bring your business in here? So, hey, what do I have to lose? Right?
Exactly. I mean, it's not here. Bring it in. It either survives or it doesn't. But you get out of it what you put into it as well. So here we have a little
the overhead.
You up on the screen. There you are.
Yeah, that's actually my new office in the city of Adam in Horizons. Yeah, and the thing is that one thing I always remind people is that, okay, you're bringing your business in here. You may have to spend some money, getting a world built or something like that. It's a tax write-off. It's a business expense. So don't look at it as, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose all this. You're going to write all this off. So
you guys paying attention to this?
So, it's, so it's worth it to step in the overhead. I mean, my goodness, where else can you, anywhere else you're going to pay like what, $1,000, $2,000 a month in rent to on a brick and mortar, in here, you can, have a world built if you don't know how to build it yourself to cut cost. And then these headsets, it's like, I sit in my office, from about 9 to 2 every day, and, I'll tilt my headset down or I'll put it up on my head, do some other work, and I can hear the doorbell ring when someone comes into my office, tilt my headset down, have my consultations, boom. Yeah, exactly.
So with bringing your business in here, though, the challenges are not just about, having a space and all of that. There's some other challenges coming in, because you need to know how to, you still, when you come in here, you make money. So when you make money, you have obligations. And those obligations, it comes from the income that you've brought in. It comes from things, taxes that may be applicable. And also, there's the way that you need to adapt doing business in the real world, you have everything on paper or on the computer and it's all right there. When you're doing it in here, this, a lot of it is verbal. Obviously, you're going to be using your laptop or your computer as well to record information, but there's a level of understanding when you would we're sitting here talking as avatars, but we're actually two human beings, and my social security, my information, there's levels of confidentiality, all of that still exists even though you're in here. So how do you kind of deal with that stuff, with a financial institution?
Well, the one thing that I do when I'm talking to someone about something of a sensitive nature, we take it offline. So we don't talk about it in here. If we're getting really personal, especially even with credit repair or something like that, if it's something, then, we can do a Zoom call or even talk over the phone.
Perfect.
So that's one thing. Yeah, I don't know. We don't do that at all.
That's great to know that you're taking those measures. That's perfect.
Exactly. And then as far as doing business in here, honestly, it's the same as if I was in IRL because I'm still talking to that person, one-on-one. Okay. Transaction wise, getting paid and things like that. It's really the same way. And then of course, you're going to report it on your taxes the exact same way as you would, in IRL.
So you're still using all the same tax forms, all the stuff that you would do sitting in your office. Just interaction, the person could be anywhere and, instead of sitting directly across the desk from you in the real world.
Exactly. And that's the beauty hit the wall. Sorry. That's the beauty part about it is that, I'm just not dealing with people in my locale, just locally. I'm able to meet people all over the country, all over the world. And
that's
so
awesome.
my reach has been extended. Yes.
So yeah, I was just going to say, so now you have this extended area to capitalize on. So, you're in here, you're meeting people, you're making friends, you're making business acquaintances, and then you can offer them a service that you wouldn't be able to do in the real world because when would you ever meet them? When would you see them?
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah. Probably. Who knows? And it was so funny. I have to tell you a quick funny story, and this just happened over the past, couple weeks. And it's because, people have got their headsets over Christmas. So we have a new set of people coming into virtual reality, they're looking around and everything. So I had this gentleman come in to my office. So I greeted him. Hi, how are you? This is my financial services business. These are the services I offer. And he's looking at me like, okay. Nice. And I'm like, okay, nice. Okay. And I'm like, well, can I help you with anything? And he's like looking at me like, oh, you're just really not. He thought that I was role playing.
Oh,
a financial services. And I was like, I said, this is for real. He's like, what do you mean? I said, no, I do this in real life. And I said, I brought my business here into the metaverse. He goes, shut up. I was like, no, seriously. I said, there's several people who have done that. He said, are you kidding me? He could not believe that people are doing business here in the metaverse. But it opened his eyes,
So many people are.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, there's a lot of people in here who are doing business, not in the financial end, but other business, whether they're, selling a product, a service, anything, they're making income. So, Uncle Sam wants his piece and stuff like that. So it's important for people to realize that when they are doing business here in the metaverse, this isn't this is a workaround. I'll just do it in there, make all this money and walk away. You are still liable for what you're doing.
Still liable for the income that you make every dollar. Exactly. So anything that you make in here doesn't matter, whether you build a world and get paid, you're DJing and you get paid. It doesn't matter whether you write something or a song for someone in here and get paid. It doesn't matter. You're marketing or, providing public relations or something and you get paid. It doesn't matter. That is still income. And honestly, and I know some people probably may even look at this, well, this is just my side thing. Form your business, become a real business entity, okay, and take advantage of all the tax breaks, okay, that you can, because like I said, all of this is a tax write-off. You know, you have a world built, someone is, I use Fiverr, to do some of my graphics, it's a tax write-off, everything that you do, it's a tax write-off. Then this headset, when
It's
I
a big
bought
one.
it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, tax write-off. Exactly. Those of you
It's
who
like
want the
buying
new,
office
what is it?
expenses.
The new Apple, the new headset.
Oh, yes. The new headset. Yes.
Hey, if you're doing business
Go
in
get
here,
that and write it off.
come on, really.
Yep. It's a
Yeah.
smart way to think of it, too. I mean, it's no
Mhm.
different than buying the stuff that you need in your brick and mortar office, but this is what you need for this
Exactly.
office.
Exactly.
So
Totally.
there's, and it's also important to note that wherever you are, if you're in the U.S., each state has different tax thresholds. Each state has different requirements of when you actually need to pay taxes. But whether or not you're paying them, like if you're like, oh, you know what, I just made, this little world, I got $500, no big deal. That's no big deal. It might not be any big deal now, but you keep selling them. They're adding up, and the government gets wind of it. Then they're going to be like, okay, so 500, 500. Where's all the documentation? Where's the taxes that you should have been paying on this? And so it's always important to, if you're not actively filing and doing that, to at least be keeping track of everything that you're doing, and be able to prove, okay, well, this is what I did, and this is who it was with, and so make sure you're keeping your ledgers of your own.
Exactly. And you're exactly right. Record keeping is so important, because the thing is, things have to balance. Okay, so for example, you've had all this money coming in, and of course you're expending, so you're creating expenses. So if down the line something's not adding up to them, then
raise a little red
you're going to have
flag.
to back. Okay, exactly. So, I mean, my thing is, look, just be honest, because look, everything comes out eventually, right? I mean, so just be honest, do your due diligence, and to just make sure that you're wise about, like I said, reporting all your income, keeping track of all your expenses, and that's every expense. One thing that I do with my clients is that I just continually remind them, hey, if you bought a pack of pencils for your business, that is an expense, something that small. Okay. Everything. It's not just the big stuff, but it's also the little stuff, because all of that just starts to add up.
Absolutely. Now, if any of you are actually doing a 501c3, or any of the 501s, the tax issues will be a little bit different. Some of you will not be liable for taxes for the services that you're providing, but for most people who are actually giving something, usually when we give, you have to take. So that's probably a good rule of thumb to pay attention to as well with the stuff that you're doing. But while we're talking about, the metaverse and taxes and all of the income and everything, it kind of segues right into cryptocurrency, which is a big thing, especially in the people that we're running in circles with in here. And, it's important for people to know that cryptocurrency, although it's, it's not as regulated and it's functioning on different platform, that's not a get out of jail free card to go and just make a ton of money, put it in your pocket and run away. That's not how that works either.
No,
if you make money, you owe taxes.
Exactly. Exactly, because it's treated like property. If you acquire it and you sell it and you make a profit, you have to pay taxes on that. And that's even if someone pays you in crypto, you still have to pay taxes, still have to be paid on that, because it's income. Anything that comes into you, you've got to pay taxes on it. But, some things to offset it.
Pay attention to that.
Yeah. But, one thing that helps, though, is just, like I said, remembering those expenses. And then another thing, I suggest that, hey, instead of maybe you spending, if you owe, pick your favorite charity. Okay. And make a nice donation to a charity, because you can write that off on your taxes too. I'd rather for the money to go
little
to
checks and balances.
Uncle Sam. Exactly.
I know. I actually, so in addition to the things that I do in the real world, I run a nonprofit, and there was a group
Mm-hmm.
that was in here that was getting nonprofits involved with cryptocurrency. And, obviously, as a 501c3, I don't have to pay tax obligations on the things that involve my nonprofit. But there were some people who were involved in this program that, based on what type of a business you're doing, you may actually, have to pay something toward the money that you receive. And it was all in cryptocurrency. And there were people that were thinking, like, oh, well, I just thought because I was doing it in crypto, there were no rules, right? And it's like, no, that's not how it is. Yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah. There's still rules. The rules still apply. Definitely.
now, how does your business itself, how does Bara Financial, kind of navigate that regulatory landscape? Because it is hard to put a finger on, if we have a transaction going on over here right now, how do they know this? So how do you keep people up to date and keep a pulse on all of that?
Yeah, well, I just informed and said, look, if you've had any transactions, as a matter of fact, I mean, it's on the 1040 form right now.
I've been
so
seeing
it's
that.
about, you've seen it?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's a box you have to check. Yeah. Yes or no, whether you have been awarded or rewarded, cryptocurrency, have you bought or sold, in any type of transaction in cryptocurrency, you've got to check yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the thing is, a lot of people do stuff under the table and everything. I'm not the tax police or anything like that. It's up to you, but the question is asked.
Exactly.
It's up to you to tell me yes or no.
And I can tell you something from personal experience, unfortunately. I've worked places where we've had audits come through, and it's not fun. I actually had some, I know some personal people who've actually been audited because they didn't do things quite right. And it's funny because in one of the situations, the tax preparer was guiding them incorrectly and giving them information. It was a little bit of a shady situation, and told them they could take these certain expenses that they couldn't take, which if you paid any attention at all, you would have said, you can't do that. You would have known. But I was like, no, you just put it in there, whatever. And so a bunch of people got caught, and they all ended up having to pay all these penalties. And what happened was, it was ruled at the end of the day, you, the individual, are ultimately responsible for what you file and what you don't file. If the tax preparer or the financial advisor gives you advice and you decide, I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to do what I want, that's fine. You're liable for it at the end of the day. It's on you. If you, so if you prepare your own taxes, because there's a lot of people who, well, I don't even make that much. I work at one job, blah, 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 it's straightforward TurboTax, and it's guiding you through it. But if you make a mistake, guess who pays that penalty at the end? You do, not anyone else. Nobody covers that. Nobody says, oh, well, you didn't know. It's okay. Here's a little slap on the wrist and go. No, here's the money you owe. Pay it now.
Exactly.
So it's important.
And they want their money, ASAP. But but within my consortium group of people, we do work with people who do owe taxes, back taxes. So there are. Hey, look, there's an answer for every situation. So you're not doomed or anything like that. So you can't I just always like to be positive, because I mean, you can only go up from where you are anyway, right?
Well, that's true, right? Once you're knocked down, you're climbing back.
Hey, come on. Exactly. And also one thing I want to point out too, I've run into several people, it seems like over the past few weeks, that haven't filed in a few years.
And then you got to play catch up.
Right, exactly. But sometimes they think that, well, I don't have to go back and do those. No, yes, you do. You do have to go back and do those, okay? Because there are cases where the IRS won't accept your current year until those previous years are caught up.
Yep. So, just do it right to begin with if you can.
Just
And
do it
if
right.
something goes wrong, fix it as soon as you figure it out.
Exactly. I mean, that's what amendments are for. Don't be afraid, like, oh, I'm scared to file since I was late. Look, just do it. It's okay. It's okay. You're not the first person who's been late with their taxes.
Right?
And the thing is that if you don't owe, there won't be any penalty. You don't have to worry about penalties. But if you owe, then yes, there's going to be some penalties,
It's just like interest. It's basically, like when you have a loan and they give you the money up front, as you're paying it back, you owe the balance with plus interest. So
Right.
obviously you do quite a bit with taxes and stuff. You mentioned also for services that you're providing, you do grant writing. So are you, who are you, like, what are your types of clients for the grant writing there? Is it pretty much, like nonprofits looking for financial aid and stuff, or how is that working for you?
Well, it's actually profits and nonprofits.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Because, typically, well, before the pandemic, typically you saw nonprofits getting, grants and so forth. But during the pandemic, a lot of businesses shut down, especially small businesses, because they shut everything down. No one was working, such and so forth. And so thank God that a lot of banks and other foundations, and if they decide, okay, look, we need to help them. Okay.
Yep.
We need to provide some funding for these for-profit businesses. So one thing I always tell, my clients is use what you got, I said, look in the mirror and write down, who are you? Are you a woman? Okay. Are you a woman of color? Are you a single mother? How old are you? Because the thing is that factors into, different grants, because there's a lot of grants for women-owned businesses. There's even some for like single moms, there's all type of different grants.
It's very interesting. And it's interesting that something negative like the pandemic would actually bring about something to help in a different aspect. So nice. So now let's talk about coaching a little bit. So when you're, obviously credit repair is a big thing, but like for coaching, so do you kind of help people get on track as well? So if somebody doesn't necessarily have bad credit, but they just don't know what to do, how am I going to get here? And does any of that flow into like 401ks or retirement plans and things like that?
Okay, so the one thing I don't do, I don't give investment advice, because that gets really sensitive, and and I've just seen people go tilt if something doesn't go right. So I just stay away from the investing part. But what I do is that, I coach them, getting them on track. Sometimes, people will come to me, I can't make ends meet. I just don't have enough money coming in, this, that, and the other. And, like one individual, I helped her find like almost $400 extra per month in her.
Wow. Okay. So budgeting.
And she was just like, what? Yeah. Yeah. Just helping them budget and just helping them saving. Like if they have plans to, okay, well, I have a child going to college. What can I do? Helping them to save, put aside, that sort of thing. Or I want to buy a house later on. So that's what I do.
So all those services you provide in real life, and you also offer them in here in the metaverse. The people who are involved in your business in the real world, have you thought about bringing them in at all into the metaverse to kind of expand?
Yeah, well, CityGirl, people still I'm the only one in my family that has a headset.
I feel this.
I mean, they see me. Oh, she's got that thing on her head again, and it's just, so they haven't warmed up to it yet. I still talk about it. And so people are still like, okay, that metaverse thing, I think, yeah, and so I just look at it as like the internet when it first came about. People were kind of stand up screams like, I don't know. This is the same thing. And before you know it, you know what? Everybody's going to be in here. But I'm just glad that we're here. Yeah, I'm glad that we're here. We're at the beginning. We're laying the foundation, and then, everyone can follow us.
So let me ask you, now that you've done this, you came in, you checked out the metaverse, you said, you know what, there's a need in VR. I can do this. I can bring my business in. I can, capitalize on the audience and, because I'm expanding, throwing out a wider net. What advice would you have for people other than like, just do it? What advice would you have for people who are thinking, I think my business could survive in here?
Make a plan first. Okay. Look at your business in IRL. Okay. What am I doing? Okay. And then, you know what? Hang out, quote unquote. Talk to people. See what they're talking about. See what their needs are. People are talking out here, chatting, what they're going through in real life and so forth. Find out what the needs are, because that's what entrepreneurism is built on. The needs, right? People need a service. They need something. So, listen to what their needs are. And then again, make a plan. Okay. So this is what I need. Okay. And this is a timetable. Don't be too aggressive. Okay. Don't do something that is, out of your reach. Like, okay, next month I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to have my world built and then I'm going to do this. No. Okay. You stretch it out a little bit,
Be
take
realistic.
your time. Exactly. Get the lay of the land, and then also research the different platforms. There are different platforms here. We're here in VR chat. You've got Horizons, you've got Spatial, you've got Engage, you've got Banter. You told me there's so many, and not all of them, one may fit your business and another may not.
Very
Just like,
true.
for example, someone may be Builder in Unity and Blender. Well, guess what? Right now, they're working up to it, but that isn't offered in Horizon, so that wouldn't be a good place for your business.
Exactly. So being realistic and being strategic with how you're putting everything together. Yeah,
Right.
and I do agree with you. Not every platform is perfect for every business. In concept, you would think, well, what's the difference? We're two avatars doing whatever. It is different because the feel and the look, the capabilities. You talked about Unity and Blender not being in Horizon. Screen sharing, it's coming, but it's not there.
But
So
it's not there
how
yet.
could I sit there and have a conference with you and show you my stuff if I can't? So it might not work in every platform. But hopefully everybody eventually will catch up and you'll see things level off a little bit and be more of it. It would be wonderful if, being realistic, maybe 5 years down the road from now, which is not that far away, that you could just seamlessly go between platforms and see a lot of the exact same things and be able to, have your business and anyone else's business, in 5 platforms. Be able to still have it be successful.
Right. Yeah. Because I have my office there in Horizons, and I also have an office. Oh, and then Multiverse. I have an office over there. Yeah. And then I built one in Spatial, but I'm not really there a whole lot. So I'm still kind of filling that platform out to even see, like, what can I do there? Okay.
Sure.
Been over to Engage. That has opportunity, but it's a different type. I think more of a teaching opportunity.
Okay.
To teach financial literacy, which is one thing that I plan to do in the very near future. So it's you have to do your research. Look at each one and what they offer.
And I would think too, one of the things that people should consider is, we talk about how you have world builders and you have world visitors. You need the balance between the two of them. But, if you're going to come in here and you're going to try and do anything, whether it's financial services or cooking show, whatever it is that you're going to do, you really do need to invest a little bit of your time and effort. And when I say a little bit, I'm being a little sarcastic, in learning the technology. It's not just jump in. Now, I'm not an expert. I don't know how to build a world, but I spend the time hanging out with people who do it so I can understand the technology a little bit better. And I can say, you know what? Hey, I'd really like to do this within this world. Is this even capable? And if the answer is yes, great. What do we need to do? And if it's no, okay, explain to me why so that I can understand it better, because I don't want to make unrealistic expectations that can't be followed through. Now you come in here and let's say you were doing a live broadcast show and everything that you're doing is almost like the DJs with Twitch, but like instead you were, let's say, a cooking show. So you're showing how to make the recipes, you're broadcasting it, people are watching and all of that. That'll be great, but people can do that on TV too. How do we enhance this experience? What else can we do? Is there something that we can, at the end of the episode, each person walks away with a POAP that's the recipe? I don't know, something like that. Like, so
what would be great with that one? The cooking show.
What?
If it was like totally immersive. It's like,
well, you're actually making something, and that would be
cool.
You're
like right there next to the teacher, and you're standing there. Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, well, you know what? There's the Kitchen Wars games in here, so we know that it can be done. That might be a little primitive, but it could get there. So, I mean, there you go. Somebody out there who likes to cook, because that's not me, but someone out there does, and maybe you could do that.
Right. Exactly. And then to your point about knowing the technology, and that also helps you so that you're not taken advantage of.
Very true.
If you want, just say, a particular feature, and then you know what it takes to get it done, and someone says, well, it's going to take me a few weeks. I don't know. You're like, wait a minute, come on. Yeah, exactly.
I know you can blast that out in like 2 hours. What are you talking about?
and why are you charging me like $5,000 for something that's only going to take you? You know what I mean? Just,
Yes. Well, and that's true too, because, those of us, like you said, we've been in here, we've kind of been at the foundation. We have an understanding of how it works, but I'm sure that there are, there's reputable business people and there's not reputable business people. So for newbies that are coming in who don't know any better, they're not going to know if they're being taken advantage of. And hopefully they would do their homework and ask around, hey, who's a good world builder? Who's a good avatar? And they would get the advice from everyone, but they could just as easily walk into you who, they don't know you, and you say to them, I can do this for you for that amount of money. And they're like, oh, great, I'm going to get this. And somebody says, you paid how much for that?
Exactly.
What are you talking about? So.
Right. And that's why I said before, take your time. Don't rush it. Come in, talk to people, do your research, compare notes, and sometimes ask the same question to the same person a couple times and see if you get the same answer.
So what do you see as, the next step for you? You're going to continue doing your services in here. Is there anything that you would like to see your business be able to do here in the metaverse that you're not doing currently?
Well, yes, there's a couple things I want to do, actually.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes. And it's actually going to start in the multiverse, only because of the way they're set up and their functionality and everything. And so, and I'll have to reveal it later. Yeah. Cause I don't want to but it's a big undertaking.
We'll keep the cat in the
bag. Yeah. One is dealing with the financial industry, and then one is dealing with the film and TV, cause that's also something I'm involved in too. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So there's another side of you that we're not aware of, I see. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a filmmaker too. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, then. Well, we might have to talk about that on a future episode.
Yeah.
Very cool. So people who are interested in maybe getting some financial guidance from you, or meeting up with you to, maybe they don't have a tax preparer, or they're maybe looking for grant writing, this is your Instagram, that's your website. If they go on to your website and for example, let's say it's somebody who happens to be in the audience that hey, it's CityGirl, I could use some advice, blah, blah, blah. You'll get back to them and treat them just like you would every other client.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, so you can send me a direct message over Instagram, or go to my website. You can make an appointment, or just, like I said, I'm in Horizon Worlds every day from 9 to 2. So you can drop in if you like. Yeah.
Perfect. So everybody, again, we record these episodes, so this will be up on YouTube later. So if you don't have a way to grab and screenshot this right now, you can check it out there. But I'm really glad to learn about all the things that you're offering. And I might reach out to you for some advice on something with one of the grants that I'm working on right now, just to kind of get your feedback on it. But yeah, I think it's amazing that you're doing all of this. And I love that you just were like, hey, it's a no-brainer. I can sit here on my desk with the headset on and doing the exact same thing I'm doing at my desk and grow my business. So congratulations on the success that you've had on this. This is great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's great. I love the metaverse. I love VR. So this has been a great adventure for me.
I think a lot of us have really come in here and embraced it. And it is what you make of it. You know, you can come in here and you can just go in and have fun and there's nothing wrong with that. Or you can come in here and say, you know what, I think I can do more and run with it. So,
right. Exactly.
Well, hopefully we see a lot more people taking your lead here and doing stuff like that. And so speaking of which, that kind of segues a little bit into next week's guest. Next week, we're going to have Madame Tink on, and she is the leader of Zen Royals. She's actually up in the audience right now. Hey, Tink. And she's going to talk about how she came in here and, you know, had a vision of what could be happening in here and how to grow that. So this season, we're going to have, you know, we're still going to be talking about all the different concepts of, you know, whether it's Web3, world building, crypto, NFTs, all of that. But we're also going to, you know, focus more on how to do more within here in the metaverse and growing that. And whether it's from people's personal experience and them sharing to kind of give you sometimes a spark can happen just from listening to what somebody else has done. And you're like, oh, I could do that. Or, oh, that might work for me, you know? And then, you know, there'll be some other people who might come on as guests who are actually going to be able to coach you on how to bring your talent or your business up to the next level and do more with it in here. So you can definitely look forward to more of that this season. Again, I am so very excited to have all of you guys. You know, it means a lot to me. I just want to say this, when I look out into the audience and I see a lot of the same people coming every week, it makes my heart feel full, because this was started to give the community something that you're getting information from here, or you're enjoying what it is that you're learning. And to see you come back means that that's working. So I appreciate all of the support and the consistency from all of you. And when you leave here tonight, please take a moment to go up those stairs, around the corner, and over into our new commemorative hall to check out the work that Kip has done for us to build that, and to see all the people who've been on in the past 50 episodes. And as this season progresses, we'll be making the signage for, at the end of the season, putting up the rest of them up. So you'll be the first one for season 4. So thank you, everyone. And for any of you who maybe knew or maybe didn't come very often in the past, at the end of every episode, we put together a POAP that we give out to the guest and to the people in the audience who collect them and want them. So if any of you would like the POAPs, reach out to me. You can DM me at CityGirl_401 on Instagram, or you could just send a DM to Crypto City, and I will get a POAP sent off to you. And for any of you who are not sure what a POAP is, that means you haven't been coming to the shows. But a POAP is like it's a little digital badge, a digital asset that is technically an NFT. And it's the same as like if you used to go to concerts in the old days and you got your ticket stub ripped and you got half of it back, and that's your proof you went to that event. So POAPs are meant to be digital proof that you attended an event. We kind of use it as both that and more of just like something fun, a commemorative little visual that you came to this event and that you were part of it. So thank you so much for being part of tonight's event and sharing your journey with us. It was great to learn more about you. And thank you, all of you, for coming here tonight. And we will see you next week with Madame Tink at 9 p.m. on Monday night. And thank you to my team, Blue Moon and Loudfire, for all of your work to help us get up and running again for season 4. Appreciate you.